Dude, let's go.
What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Untamed Outdoorsmen. Today we are back once again for sort of a review video. It's been a disgusting, gross weekend with rain and wind, and it's just been a gross weekend, so we're not going to be doing any fishing. And I figured we would get a review video done that I've been wanting to do for a little while. So these are the NRS boundary boots. I've had these for just about 6 months now, and I didn't do any initial review on them because I think doing like initial reviews and first impressions on footwear are a little tough because they don't provide a whole lot other than just an unboxing because, footwear and shoes are all about fitment and comfort and things like that. So considering these are an all black shoe and there's no real design to them, I didn't think making a first impressions video was really worth it because I wanted to do a long-term review on them. So I bought these at the very start of the 2024 fishing season, used them all throughout the cooler months of the year. So March, April, most of May, at least in Massachusetts, most of May. And then we're going to be getting back into using them throughout late September here, possibly. We'll see how warm it stays. October and then November. And then I don't think we're going to go into December, but maybe December. So these are the boots. So I'll put my feet like this. So what we'll do, we'll just go through a quick overview of them, kind of as they are, just quick little tour, no less than like a minute or two. We'll go over kind of my experience with them, what I've used them for, what I've learned from using them, and then kind of what I think about them. So we'll go relatively quickly here. If you have any questions, leave a comment. So a little bit of a tour here. So these boots are entirely neoprene. Obviously, you have the rubberized texture on the bottom, just like you would any, neoprene boot or like softer work boot. That really, really nice neoprene texture with the thicker rubber on the bottom of a boot, or basically a bottom of a shoe, really. That same kind of material. So the full neoprene is going to really help with warmth a lot. So if you're in really cold water, really low cold water, these boots are going to be really nice for you because there's really no limit on what they can do when it comes to the cold. Obviously, if you went in like negative 10-degree water, it'd be frozen. But yeah, if you were to go into near freezing water with these, you wouldn't feel them. You wouldn't feel the cold with these boots, for sure. Like I said, that thicker rubberized texture across the bottom of the boot helps with, durability and, preventing any issues. Because if you just had a full neoprene boot like this, it would be pretty uncomfortable, one, and it would rip pretty easy. So you got that, I guess, armored rubber. So that's nice. The texture on the boots, I'm going to try and do this here, but the texture on the boots there, just your typical, outdoor boot texture there. I do find that it does help compared to something like a slide that's just completely flat that I try to wear and always end up failing. That texturized material on the bottom does help quite a bit. For example, if you're walking your kayak cart up a steeper ramp, you don't have to worry about slipping. Obviously, be mindful that if you're on a slippery, ramp or whatever, but these do actually help with, slipping or anything like that, especially on steep ramps or, steep or slippery ramps. So obviously be mindful, but they do help. On the bottom of the boot here, you got this tether to kind of tighten down the boots if you need it. I do because I don't have very wide feet, so I use this to kind of tighten it down. So I did use that. You don't really need it, but it is nice to have. In terms of the fitment, I'll say these are pretty true to size, maybe slightly big. So I wouldn't, if you're thinking about getting a shoe size, you don't really have to worry too much about, downsizing or buying a size larger. These are pretty true to size, but slightly on the big end. So just keep that in mind. I'm a size 11 and these are right about there. If you can see it, I hope you guys really can see it. I could have probably gotten away with a 10.5, but these are okay, especially since tightening them down. On the top here, you do have this buckle that you can use to tighten down the top of the boot. You can do this if you want to. You don't really have to, but personally, I like it because it's nice. So, one thing about these boots, and I'll elaborate on this in a minute, is these boots kind of give you sort of a warning. So if you're in water and it's dangerously close to the water line here on the top of the NRS boots, you have a split second to correct it. So if you're about to walk into an area that's too deep for these boots, the water won't instantly pour over the sides of the NRS boots. It won't take very long for the water to fill up in these boots, but you have a split second to quickly take your foot out of there so it doesn't get covered in water on the inside. And that has happened to me before. I'll elaborate on that too. Trust me, it's not fun. So having that little bit of buffer there to stop you from doing that is really nice. So you can do that. I find this slightly difficult to use. I don't know if it's just me or not, but I find this buckle slightly difficult. So I don't know. When it is tight, it stays there, so you don't have to worry about that. But once it's tight, it does actually work. It's just a little tough getting that to tighten for some reason. Maybe it's just the way I'm using it. Could be me. But yeah, so that's kind of the quick overview of these boots. I don't know the exact height on them, but I would have to guess maybe 18 inches tall. So yeah, that's kind of the quick overview. In terms of what I think of them, so in terms of a cold weather boot for specifically kayak fishing, these are the gold standard. You know, these are widely considered and widely used among so many kayak anglers. In the colder months, pretty much everybody in my tournaments have them because they are a seriously good thing to have. When water temps are 35, 40 degrees, 45 degrees, you need protection, not only against the air, but against the water. So this winter, that is really going to be something that we prioritize. We are going to be making a serious effort this winter to purchase really good cold weather and cold rain gear. Because this last season of fishing, this 2024 fishing season, we're not done, but 2024 fishing season so far, back in April, we were underdressed for sure. That Woquaket tournament we did earlier this year, though the air temperature, I believe, was 40. The water temperature was like 38. And we had a base layer, we had a sweatshirt, and we had our raincoat. We were very underdressed for that. So we're going to make a really strong effort this winter to purchase upgrades in terms of apparel and rain gear and, pant gear and, pants and proper rain and fishing pants. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be making that serious upgrade this winter. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully I can help you guys purchase gear yourselves. But these boots are a necessity. I will never leave the house on a cold fishing day without these boots ever again. But I will say, they definitely have their place and you have to know their limits. So one thing with me is I'm a taller person. So I'm 6'3" and I have longer legs. And I find that when I use these boots, I quickly realize how short they really are. With my kayak has landing gear on it. So with landing gear, the landing gear obviously screwed in to the back half of the kayak. So with landing gear, I have to go physically walk out to the kayak sometimes on the water to get the landing gear deployed. Sometimes I can do it when I'm sitting in the kayak, but a lot of the time I have to physically walk out in the water to get to the landing gear wheels. I can't do that with these boots. So I've done it before. I've tried to do it and it's failed miserably. And I made that huge mistake on Lake Woquaket before the tournament even started on a 40-degree day with snow, where I walked out on the water with these boots on to deploy the landing gear, and all the water came flushing into the boot, where it was just, I was in the water. Like there was no buffer, there was no air, nothing. It was just all water inside the boot. And that happened before the day even started. I had no hand warmers or anything to fix it. So that was a huge mistake that I ended up paying for big time. So in terms of a daily use kind of kayak shoe/boots, they're excellent when it comes to walking in shallow water, when it comes to dealing with wind, when it comes to dealing with rain, when it comes to, actively fishing on my kayak. These boots keep my feet toasty warm the whole day with no fear of that whatsoever. I don't even have to wear cabin socks or anything like that. I just wear regular Nike, dry fit socks, and they're more than fine. But you have to know their limit. So I think this winter, we are going to invest in some hip waders for those really cold days with landing gear until we get a trailer. Until we figure out a trailer situation, I'm going to just deal with hip waders. I'm not really thinking about a trailer right now. That might be not this winter, but maybe the winter after we worry about that. But for this season, I think I am going to invest in hip waders along with, proper winter fishing pants and proper winter fishing jackets. Specifically, those hip waders will be specifically for loading and unloading my landing gear on the kayak, and then I'll immediately take them off and go back to the boundary boots. So yeah, I hope this video helped you potentially make a decision when it comes to the NRS boundary boots. My advice is don't let this be the only video you watch, because there are a lot of different opinions out there, a lot of very good feedback on these boots. So definitely don't let this be the only video you watch. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. So a couple things I want to talk about. So the date today, I believe, is September 21st, 2024. I haven't been kayak fishing in probably 2-3 weeks. I said in the previous kayak fishing video that I was going to take kind of a break as I kind of acclimate to some new changes in my life. So I'm kind of at the point where I think I'm good. So I'm going to go back out to fishing. Like I said earlier in the video, this weekend's kind of a complete wash with this awful weather. So probably next weekend, I'm going to try to get out there. Hopefully once or twice I'll be out there. So yeah, stay tuned for all that. The goal for the year is to be out there. My goal personally is to get to Thanksgiving. If I can get to Thanksgiving and, still be fishing, I'll call it a win. But that's kind of depending on the weather at that point in the year. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for all the upcoming fishing videos, and we'll see you guys later. See you soon.